I'm Dr. Hilda. I'm here to give a presentation on the subject English language teaching. So this subject has been an elective paper for major students, that is 3rd BA English. So now here I'm here to talk about one particular topic, that is how to teach ELT. So what is English language teaching? So what are the topics covered in that? And in that topic I'm going to talk. So first one is, so as I told you, it's English language teaching. So what is English language teaching? As I told you, what is English language teaching? So everything is a foreign language. So you know, our native language, it can be either Tamil, English or whatever it is. So acquired from our parents. So mother tongue. So mother tongue is our first language. So now here, to learn a second language, what are we going to do? So learning a second language is not that easy. Why? Because it's a new language and it depends upon our interest. So here, if you take education, school education or college education, here we are forced to learn a second language. So that is second language here according to us is English. So it depends on people, age, and sometimes people above 40 or 50, if they are not working, their second language can be anything rather than English. So since I am focused on college, so here I am here to talk about English. So how to acquire a second language, that is English. So here, so now, so learning a second language, as I told you, it's not that easy. So how to acquire that second language? So there are very basic steps are there. So when you know, when the child is born, it cannot walk and run and it can talk, climb the stairs just like that. So there are each and every moment is there, and every step it has to take, it has to undergo some difficulty, and its motivation and hard work only can pull it to the next step. So now, as I told you, so here what are the stages? So learning a second language, it's not that easy. Why? Because it's a foreign language. If you take our mother tongue, when we are born, we naturally learn from our parents, that is our father, mother, whoever is there. So we learn from them. What they do, parents teach us. So mother, when we watch our mother speaking, naturally we start to speak. And when father speaks, naturally we learn, understand symbols and everything. Depending upon our neighborhood and people around us, that is our surroundings, we learn mother tongue. So what about second language acquisition? So second language, learning a second language, as I told you, it's a foreign language. So what are the basic steps to learn a second language? There are actually 5 basic steps. So usually learning a new language means, so you cannot suddenly go to advanced level, as I told you. So many steps you have to undergo, and finally only you can be well versed in that subject. So first stage, what is that? Silent stage. So silent stage means really learning a second language, you can observe people, how they are talking, how they are doing, and all the movements and actions you can observe. And second period is, after observing their movements and actions, what you can do is, you can suddenly learn to, learn the symbols, objects. Depending upon the objects, what we do, we learn the word. And next what we do, after learning the word, what we do, we practice. So when we practice what we know, suppose it's a chair, so we start to talk about each and every symbols, that is chair, board, tea. So each and small, every English word we are learning. And then after learning the words, only the next step will be learning grammar, that is tenses, vocabulary of a particular language. So after learning that particular language only, what you will do, you will reach the final stage where you will have fluency in writing skills as well as in speaking skills. So next, so as I told you, what are the 5 stages I told you? First we will go to the first stage. So what is the first stage, as I told you? So first stage, as I told you, what will happen? The learner, so whoever it is, so what they will do, they will just listen, they will turn around, observe all the movements around the surroundings, and they will be silent. They won't even utter a word. Why? Because you need confidence, willpower, determination. So without that you cannot speak a foreign language. So when you want to speak, immediately if I speak, so many problems are there. Why? Because you will feel uncomfortable, lacking confidence, and so many things are there. So suddenly when a person wants to learn a new language, what they will do is, they will just observe. They will just observe the actions, what they are doing, and what are the symbols represent different words. So that is the stage. So actually it depends upon person to person. Suppose if you take small children, they're easy for them. It will be very easy for them to grab the words and meanings. And next stage, if you go to school children, a little bit difficult, but they will be learning the language faster than us. And if you go to the next level, that is teenagers, they will also be fast. But if you take people, grown-up people, what they will do, learning a second language is very, very difficult for them. So why? Because unless you are interested to learn a second language, you cannot learn a second language. For that they need motivation and they need self-confidence, and moreover, above all, they need interest. Without interest, they cannot learn a new language, that is second language. So now, for first stage is over. So now second stage, what are the early acquisitions? So what are the early stages, as I told you? So learning a language means we need to know about the words, particular word. Suppose if this is verb chair, they need to know the word in the, actually I told in English, so they know to know the words, particular words, each and every word in English, and then they have to frame sentences. So actually what they are doing, they whether run, walk, talk, eat. So these are the words they have to learn first in English, and then only they can speak. So for that vocabulary, more than 1,000 vocabularies are there. So vocabulary, if you take action verbs. So action verbs, if children know the action verbs only, the children or the person who is acquiring, without knowing action verbs in a particular language, you cannot learn that language. Why? Because you need tense and verbs. Then only you can speak. So as in English, if you know you have tenses, no present tense, past tense and future tense, in that particular language also you should know what is the present tense and how you should speak in past tense and how you should speak in future tense. So without knowing the tenses, it's very, very difficult for any particular person to learn a second language. So basically you should start with the vocabulary words. So how many vocabulary words you are learning, so it shows your interest. So based on that only your language will improve. There are so many vocabulary words are there. So to talk about, as I told you, eat, sleep, small, talk, sit. So these are the vocabulary words. And next stage, as I told you, speech. So when you learn the vocabulary words, that is tenses in a particular word, action verbs, next stage what will happen? Automatically when you know the vocabulary, you will start to frame words. So suppose if I say eat, you will start to say I eat, I talk, I sleep. So you will connect with you. So when you connect with you, automatically you will start to frame sentences, and automatically what will happen? You will have a knowledge of that particular subject. And next is called intermediate fluency. So first turn your speech is coming, you start framing the sentences and then framing the vocabulary. After gaining the vocabulary, what you are doing, you are going to the next step. So now that is next step is framing sentences. So first you start with I, he, she, and then you will move on to big sentences. So that is the initial stage where you will start with I come, I came, she came. So when you start with that, gradually what will happen? You will learn more and more sentences and more language in a subject. So that's also here. When it comes to fluency, as I told you, in tenses where in English where you have three tenses like present tense, past tense and future tense. So intermediate fluency is like learning all the three tenses and speaking correctly in that particular language. So usually first stage will be grammatical mistakes will be there, some errors will be there, and you will lack vocabulary. So why? Because it's a new language. When you start to speak, there will be lack of words. So lack of vocabulary. Immediately you cannot speak fluently. So practice, depending upon the practice, how you speak and how you practice only what will happen, you will gain fluency. So that is called intermediate fluency. So now, as I told you, this is the intermediate fluency. So what will happen? Errors, so many errors, you will make mistakes, you will start to talk badly. So many mistakes will be there, and based on that, what will happen? You will go on to the next stage. So if you have confidence and determination in what you are speaking in a particular language, even if it's wrong also, if you start to speak, gradually what will happen? Your practice, your confidence, your motivation, what will happen? You will start to learn that language. So when you start to learn that language, naturally what will happen? You will become very fluent. So when you become fluent, what is the meaning? You have reached the advanced stage. So fifth stage. Here the fifth stage actually is called the advanced stage. So as I told you, advanced stage means you won't search for words. So language, vocabulary, everything you are thorough with. You are very thorough with all the vocabulary, all the tenses of that particular language, and then finally you start to speak fluently without grammatical mistakes, as if you are the native speaker. So that means when you speak to that extent, it shows that you have reached the advanced level. So these are the 5 stages of learning a new language. So you told you what is a second language and what are the steps involved in learning a language. As I told you, it's suddenly you cannot speak. So little by little it needs practice, hard work, determination, and then finally you reach this 5th stage. So after 5th stage, actually what will happen? So here I told you, learning a second language is solely depends upon the particular person. Why? Because not only depends upon the person alone, it depends upon the environmental factors. So the place where you are in. Suppose you are in a foreign country where people around you are speaking in English. Naturally what will happen? You will start to observe them, learn vocabulary, and you will start to speak that particular language in that particular accent. So accent also you will learn. So that is called second language acquisition. Suppose if you are in a different country or the language is different, so French or some other country are there, so you will learn. So gradually what will happen? People who have determination to learn, depending upon the environmental factors, so place where you are in, they will naturally acquire that language and they will become one like native. So they will speak like native speaker. So within a few months what will happen? They will gain that language. Why? Because every day they are used to that language. Every day they are seeing, every day they are meeting people, and every day they are practicing that language. So when you practice that language, naturally what happens? You become one among them, and naturally you won't lack confidence. Why? Because every day you're used to that, every words, all the words you will be familiar with. If you go to a shop, you will know what are the things to buy. So what are the things to speak in that particular language. And then if you go to a mall or anywhere in a bus, whatever it is, a train, so you will learn language. So looking at people around you, gradually what will happen? You will learn that particular language, and finally what will happen? You will become one like native. So there won't be any difficulty in learning that language. So that's what I told, it depends upon the social factors, people around you. So environment, everything, it depends. So what are the characteristics, as I told you? So here, as I told you earlier, as I told you, there is so many differences. So age differences are there. Each age group will learn a particular language at a very high speed. Why? Because cognitive skills, IQ, depends upon age. Suppose if you take small, that is a newborn baby. So how does a newborn baby learn a new language? Why? Because it cannot speak. So within 1 or 2 years they cannot speak. But still it can understand what his mother is speaking or what our father is speaking. Why? Because they can understand the language. So what the mother speaks, they can understand. With action they can understand. Even though they cannot speak, the child can understand. So that is one factor. So why? Because fast learners. So they can learn a language even though they cannot speak. They learn a language very quickly. So that is actually depending upon the age. So next stage, if you go to 5 or 10 age groups, they will also learn quickly. Why? Because they have the adaptation, the determination is very strong, and they want to learn a language very quickly. So that at that age, if you teach them more than 5 or 6 languages also, the child will be able to learn. Why? Because they have strong mental ability and they want to learn a new language. So they want for new, they want for adventures, they want to learn new things. The eagerness makes them to learn new things, and if you ask them to actually learn a language, they will learn actually very quickly. And the next stage, if you go, that is 10 to 20 plus, that is teenage groups, they will be little less interested. Why? Because already 10 years, more than 10 years, they have learned something, whatever they wanted. So now what they will do is the next step, no? They are not interested, little bit interested, and the next stage, that is 30 to 40 or 50 to 60, depending upon the interest only they can speak. So this is how individual factors affect. So environmental factors, affective factors, and then benefits. So finally, before concluding, I want to say what are the benefits of second language acquisition. You say, if you learn a new language, your cognitive skills will improve. So you will have the skills to learn more and more new things. So one such thing is language. And then if you are learning a language, your communicative skills will improve. You can speak fluently, whatever you want. And then wherever you want, you can go for job, so there won't be any lacking of self-confidence or something. And then you will have mental health. Why? Because if you get your job, if you are on your track, everything will be okay. So with this, I try to conclude my conclusion. That is, second language can be acquired by anyone at any age, depending upon the age factors. It can be acquired. So thank you.